Dr. Rajendra Prasad, neurosurgeon at Apollo Hospitals, Delhi. So I've had the privilege of looking after Anthony Barry Reynolds. And I got a call about 2 weeks ago that they're airlifting this British citizen who'd had extensive face and head injury and chest injury. And I thought this is normal at this time of the year. A lot of tourists do get injured on the hills, but what got my attention was that Barry, in spite of all that, he pulled through his multiple injuries, and now he's almost ready to go home. And what was interesting, when they introduced you, they said, when they introduced him, they said he's somebody who's climbed Mount Everest. And I said, fine. And when he was well enough to speak, he said, not only have I climbed Mount Everest, but I fought polar bears, and I have also other stories to tell. And what was even more interesting to me subsequently was the evacuation that took place. So here was a foreign tourist who comes paragliding, and how the injury occurred. Of course, I've been told it was bad weather, and even though he's a trained and certified paraglider. But the response of the district administration and the trauma response was so amazing. It was such a coordinated effort between the local administration, and I'll go into that story a little bit after we've heard from Barry. Yeah, then I'll give you the story, what I got from the administration. Okay, Barry, tell us then about yourself.
I'm a survivor.
You are. Well done. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're 55 and you live in the Midlands.
No, in the Lake District.
In the Lake District, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this your first trip to India?
No, my third.
Okay. So where else did you go before this?
Same place, here.
The same place, Kangra. And you climbed Mount Everest in which year?
2014.
Okay, 2014?
No, 2004.
2004. And when did you fight the bears, polar bears?
2006 in Greenland.
In Greenland you were fighting, it's okay. So what happened now on this? So you're a trained, you have a certificate in paragliding from UK. And you've been paragliding for how long?
17 years.
Okay. So you've been paragliding. So why, and have you had injuries in the past?
No.
Okay. So what happened on this particular occasion?
I was just a little bit too close to the mountain and the air was turbulent. So it collapsed the glider and I didn't have enough height to recover normal flight.
So from what I'm told, the weather suddenly turned bad, or was it bad when you were taking off?
No, the weather was very good. It's a microclimate amongst the rocks or the mountainside and the trees or wherever the wind direction is coming, and becomes turbulent.
So you think it was just a sudden change in that local micro environment?
Just being 50 meters or 100 meters in the wrong place.
Okay. Were you conscious all through? So the injury occurred, you were hanging on a tree?
No, I was in a rock.
On a rock?
On a rock face.
On a rock face. So you were holding on to something?
No, the glider was stuck.
Okay.
And I was hanging in my harness.
So you were stuck in the harness on the rock face. And do you know how many hours were you stuck?
Not very long, because I knew the priority was to get out of the harness, press the emergency buttons on my devices, and then try and move to a better position where I could get radio direct line of sight with the other pilot still in the air.
But somebody picked up your SOS signal. So at 5 in the evening, was it roughly evening when this happened?
I crashed I think about 3:30.
Okay. So you were able to, you have to press that button, or does it happen automatically?
No, you have to activate it.
So you activated that alarm?
Two devices.
So you had two devices, you set off the alarm, and then you just waited?
No. Then I got out of my harness, and I had a balaclava to try and stop the bleeding from my face. I couldn't see because of the bleeding.
And then it got dark after that. At 6 o'clock it got dark.
No, and I managed to move maybe 100 meters or 150 meters.
So it was a flat surface and you moved?
There was just a very rough trail.
Okay.
But I couldn't see, and my ribs were very sore, so I wasn't very effective.
And then you stayed there overnight. You were there all night.
I was, but another pilot landed to help me.
So in that time before being evacuated, somebody landed. So both of you stayed there the night because you weren't picked up till 6:37 the next morning.
Okay.
So you had enough to drink and eat and do all that?
Didn't drink anything, no.
Okay, so this pilot was there. Was he able to help you?
Yes,
Was he stopping the bleeding for you?
No, but he managed to move me to a more sheltered place.
Okay, was he a trained first responder, do you think?
I don't know, but I think he's probably Russian military or something.
He was a military guy?
Yes, he knew what he was doing.
A Russian? Okay. And you do some life-saving,
yes.
And you did that.
So I was aware of my breathing problem, the bleeding.
And you know about pneumothorax, those things happen, and rib fractures. So I don't want to trouble you anymore, but so what was your experience after an army chopper picked you up, Air Force chopper, and then took you to an army hospital? And are you fully conscious since there you were
yes.
fully aware of what was happening?
Yes.
So they put a chest drain that eased your breathing.
Yeah.
And then they stabilized you a bit and then moved you to another hospital where they gave you more air. So is there anything else you want to say? I think you're a hero. I think you're very, very brave. But the message is that you must carry these devices with you, because if that device wasn't there, you probably would not have been picked up for a few hours more.
No, the Russian pilot, he also went to use his radio.
Okay.
So he radioed to some other friends to start an evacuation.
Because I've heard from administration there that not everybody who's paragliding carry these phone devices.
No, they don't.
Do you have anything to say, because you've been dealing with training of medical, of expedition leaders? Anything in this experience that you would say, okay, I think we need to improve this here in India? I mean, as a tourist having an injury, what would you say could have been different? Are you feeling better now?
Yes, yeah. When you fly, your range can be so big for the day.
Yeah.
So the day before, I think I flew 150 kilometers. So if you go missing, the search for you without an SOS, you can forget it.
So what is important in an emergency when there is an injury and it occurs to somebody outside of a place where there are neurosurgical facilities or multi-speciality facilities? The important thing is the ABC, is for the first responder, first who reaches the spot, has to take care of airway, breathing, circulation. And once ABC is taken care of and you stabilize, and in this case the pneumothorax, the chest, the rib fractures, so obviously that we don't have trained paramedics to actually get to the site and put in a chest drain as was required here. But in Barry's case, fortunately he survived 12 hours even with a ruptured lung and so many fractured ribs, bleeding from his scalp wound and from his facial wounds. So then that ABC was given at the army hospital, which was just 10 minutes away from where this happened. And it was lucky that in this case he was at an army hospital where, and somebody was coordinating that, and from there he went to a medical college in Kangra where of course this was done. He was stabilized even further, and then further craniofacial surgery. So Barry had extensive fractures of his maxilla and his facial bones, as well as the frontal bone in front. That was fractured in small pieces, and therefore air from the frontal sinus had gone inside the skull cavity. So that had to be repaired, and then the facial bones had to be fixed. So the frontal fracture was fixed. the covering of the brain, the dura was torn, which was allowing air to enter from the nasal sinuses and frontal sinuses intracranially. That was repaired. The facial fractures were fixed. The chest drain was looked after over here till it was ready to come out. So it was a team of doctors here, the anesthetist, the plastic surgeon team, the chest surgeons team. So it's only possible in hospitals, and we are fortunate. I'm fortunate to be working in a hospital like this where I can call upon the experts in other fields to come and attend. But this is what we want to do as Apollo Hospital, is want to promote the fact that ABC needs to be trained, and we are in the process of training first responders and talking to administration in Himachal and Kangra in particular of how our response can improve so that patients can be evacuated in time in a stable condition, and that initial response of ABC treatment, that is what will save lives, and that's what saved him. Another person, a pilot, came, gave him whatever aid he could, then he was evacuated to a hospital where that ABC was done, and finally then he came here. So that happens, but we often find patients deteriorate because that basic ABC isn't done. So this is the message I want to give, that if you're out in a holiday spot, you have to be contactable. Somebody, you should be carrying these devices from where you can signal an alarm. And this particular, I'm really impressed that the administration there in Kangra were able to, to press the panic button and, not panic button, alarm button, and then everybody got activated. And